Most men get this completely wrong. They think attraction is about saying the perfect words, texting all day, or trying to impress a woman with money, looks, or attention. But the truth is, the more you try to force her to think about you, the faster you push her away. Attraction doesn't work like that. What makes a woman think about you constantly isn't what you say when you're with her. It's what stays in her mind when you're gone. And that's where most men fail. Because they show too much too early. They become too available. Too predictable. Too easy to figure out. And once a woman feels like she has fully understood you, her curiosity disappears. But there's a different game being played. A quieter one. A psychological one. The kind of game where you don't chase attention, you create presence. Where you don't beg to be remembered, you become impossible to forget. And once you understand this, everything changes. Because now, instead of trying to convince a woman to like you, you position yourself in a way that naturally pulls her attention back to you, even when you're not around. In this video, you're going to learn 7 powerful psychological triggers that make a woman think about you deeply, emotionally, and consistently. Not by manipulation, but by understanding how attraction actually works beneath the surface. If you apply this the right way, you'll notice something shift. She starts texting you first. She starts wondering about you. She starts replaying your conversations in her mind. And without you forcing anything, you become the man she can't stop thinking about. Before we go deeper into this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I break down real psychology and real strategies that most men will never understand. Now let's get into it. Here's something most men underestimate: the power of absence. Not disappearing in a childish way. Not playing games. But understanding that constant access kills curiosity. When you're always available, always replying instantly, always showing up, there's nothing left for her mind to explore. You become predictable. And predictability is the fastest way to become forgettable. But when your presence is controlled, something shifts. She starts to notice the gaps. The moments when you're not there. And those gaps. That's where attraction begins to grow. Because the human mind doesn't obsess over what it fully has. It obsesses over what it almost understands, what it can't fully access. So when you're not always in her space, she starts filling in the blanks herself. She starts wondering what you're doing. Who you're with. Why you're not reaching out like other men do. And without you saying a word, you've entered her thoughts. This is where most men make the mistake. They think pulling back means ignoring her, acting cold, or trying to make her jealous. That's weak energy. It's obvious. And it backfires. What actually works is having a life that naturally limits your availability. You're focused. You're building something. You're moving with purpose. So when you're present with her, you're fully there. But when you're gone, you're truly gone. No over-texting. No unnecessary check-ins. No trying to stay on her mind by force. And ironically, that's exactly what keeps you on her mind. Because now, your presence feels intentional, not desperate. Your time feels valuable, not cheap. And she begins to associate you with a feeling she doesn't get from most men: space mixed with intrigue. That combination is powerful. It makes her lean in. It makes her curious. And most importantly, it makes her think about you when you're not around, without you needing to do anything extra. This is how attraction quietly builds. Not through noise, but through absence that carries weight. There's another layer to this that most men completely overlook: the way you end interactions. Not how you start them. Not how long they last. But how you leave. Because what she remembers most is the emotional imprint you leave behind at the end. Most guys drag conversations out until they die naturally. The energy fades, replies get dry, and everything just slowly loses momentum. And when that happens, the last thing she associates with you is boredom. That's a mistake. If you want to stay on her mind, you don't exit when things are already low. You leave when the energy is still high. When she's still engaged. When she's still enjoying the moment. Because now, instead of closure, you leave her with an open loop. Something unfinished. Something her mind wants to return to. It could be in the middle of a good conversation. A moment where she's laughing. Or right when things are starting to feel more personal and interesting. You don't cut it off abruptly or awkwardly. You simply choose not to overstay. You leave with calm confidence. Alright, I've got to run, I'll talk to you later. That's it. No long explanations. No overcompensating. No dragging it out. And what happens next is subtle, but powerful. She replays the moment. She thinks about what you were talking about. She wonders when the conversation will continue. And because you didn't exhaust the interaction, the interest stays alive. This works because the human brain naturally seeks completion. When something feels unfinished, it lingers. It pulls attention back. And now, instead of you trying to keep the conversation going, she becomes the one thinking about restarting it. But again, this only works if it's genuine. If you're leaving because you have somewhere to be, something to focus on, a life that matters outside of her. Not because you're trying to perform a trick. Because the moment it feels forced, it loses its power. But when it's real, it creates a subtle tension. A sense of, there's more to him. And that feeling is what keeps you in her thoughts long after the interaction ends. Most men try too hard to be understood. They explain everything. Their intentions, their plans, their past, their feelings, all laid out too quickly, too clearly. And while that might seem honest, it kills intrigue. Because once a woman feels like she has completely figured you out, there's nothing left to discover. And without discovery, there's no mental engagement. What keeps someone thinking about you isn't constant clarity, it's controlled mystery. Not confusion. Not pretending to be someone you're not. But revealing yourself in layers instead of all at once. You don't answer everything immediately. You don't over-explain your every move. You let some things sit. You let her wonder. You let her earn pieces of you over time. For example, when she asks something about you, you don't always give a full breakdown. Sometimes you give just enough to satisfy the question, but not enough to close the door completely. Now her mind stays active. She fills in the gaps. She builds curiosity around you. And the more she thinks about those missing pieces, the more mentally invested she becomes. This is where most guys sabotage themselves. They think being mysterious means being distant or silent. So they become dry. Hard to talk to. Emotionally unavailable. That's not mystery, that's disinterest. And disinterest pushes people away. Real intrigue comes from balance. You're engaging. You're present. You're interesting. But you're not completely predictable. There's always a sense that there's more beneath the surface. And that's what pulls her in. Because people don't chase what's fully available. They chase what feels just slightly out of reach, but still possible to understand. So instead of trying to impress her with everything you have, give her a reason to discover you. Slowly. Naturally. And the more she discovers, the more she thinks about what else is there. That's how you stay in her mind without forcing it. Not by showing everything, but by leaving just enough unsaid. There's something even more powerful than mystery: emotional contrast. Most men show up the same way every time. Same tone. Same energy. Same predictable pattern. And while that feels safe, it's also forgettable. Because the human mind doesn't hold on to neutral experiences. It remembers contrast. It remembers emotional shifts. So if every interaction with you feels exactly the same, there's nothing for her mind to latch onto. But when your energy has depth, when there are layers to how you express yourself, it creates a stronger imprint. You can be calm and grounded, but also playful. Serious when it matters, but light when the moment allows. Focused, yet unpredictable in small ways. That variation creates emotional movement. And emotional movement creates memory. For example, you might have a conversation where you're joking, teasing, making her laugh, and then suddenly, you shift into something more thoughtful, more intentional. You say something that makes her pause. Something that hits a little deeper than expected. Now she doesn't just see you as fun. She starts to feel something more complex. And that complexity is what sticks. Because now, she can't put you in a simple box. You're not just like every other guy she talks to. There's something different. Something layered. And when she tries to make sense of that difference, she starts thinking about you more. But again, this isn't about acting. It's about not limiting yourself to one dimension. Too many men think they have to be one thing. Always funny. Always serious. Always nice. Always alpha. But real attraction doesn't come from extremes. It comes from range. From being able to move between different emotional states naturally. Because that's what makes interactions feel alive. And when something feels alive, it becomes hard to forget. So instead of trying to lock yourself into one personality, allow different sides of you to show up at the right moments. Let her experience you in layers. Because the more dimensions she feels from you, the more space you take up in her mind. And once you take up that space, she doesn't just remember you. She replays you. Another thing that quietly pulls a woman's attention toward you is emotional independence. Not coldness. Not detachment. But the ability to remain centered within yourself, regardless of how she behaves. Most men react too quickly. If she takes longer to reply, they get anxious. If she pulls back slightly, they chase harder. If her energy changes, they panic and try to fix it. And in doing that, they hand over their emotional control. That's what makes them predictable, and easy to overlook. But when you operate from emotional independence, your energy doesn't swing based on her actions. You stay grounded. If she's warm, you appreciate it. If she pulls back, you don't collapse. You continue your life without trying to force anything. And that stability creates a very specific kind of attraction. Because now, she can't easily influence your state. She can't read you the same way she reads other men. And that uncertainty draws her in. She starts to wonder. Why isn't he reacting like the others? Why does he seem so unaffected? Is he losing interest, or is he just that focused on his own life? Those questions stay in her mind. And the more she tries to figure it out, the more attention she gives you. But this only works if it's real. You can't fake emotional independence. If you're constantly checking your phone, overthinking her messages, or seeking validation, it will show. Even if you try to hide it. So this isn't about controlling your actions on the surface. It's about building a life where she is not your center. You have goals. You have priorities. You have direction. So your mood, your focus, your movement, they don't depend on her responses. And when a woman feels that she's interacting with a man who is already fulfilled within himself, she starts to lean in. Not because you're chasing her, but because she feels like she has to meet you where you already are. That's the shift. You're no longer trying to hold her attention. She begins to invest hers, trying to understand you. And that's what keeps you on her mind, even in your silence. There's a subtle move that creates a strong mental pull, and most men completely ignore it. It's the ability to make her feel seen in a way she doesn't experience often. Not with generic compliments. Not with the usual, "You're beautiful," or "You're amazing." That's surface level. And she hears it all the time. What actually stays in her mind is when you notice something specific, something deeper, something she didn't expect you to pick up on. The way she thinks. The little patterns in how she speaks. A detail about her personality that most people overlook. When you reflect that back to her in a calm, natural way, it creates impact. Because now, she feels understood, not just admired. For example, instead of complimenting her looks, you might say something about her mindset. Something like noticing how she handles situations, or how she expresses herself differently from others. Now she pauses. Because that kind of observation isn't common. And when someone feels seen on that level, it sticks. She starts replaying that moment. Thinking about how you noticed something others didn't. And more importantly, she starts associating you with a certain kind of emotional experience, depth. But here's where most men get it wrong. They overdo it. They start analyzing too much, saying too much, trying too hard to sound deep. And that ruins it. Because it stops feeling natural. The key is simplicity. You say it once, clearly, without trying to impress. Then you move on. You don't wait for validation. You don't force a reaction. You let it land, and you leave it there. That's what gives it weight. Because now, it doesn't feel like you're seeking approval. It feels like you're simply expressing what you see. And that confidence makes the moment even stronger. She remembers it later. Not because you repeated it. But because it was real, unexpected, and different from what she's used to. And when moments like that happen, even briefly, they stay. They replay. And slowly, They build a deeper level of attention toward you. Not just because of how you look or what you say, but because of how you made her feel seen. There's one more layer that separates men who are easily forgotten from men who stay on a woman's mind. And that is direction. Most men move without it. They go with the flow, adapt to whatever is happening, and unconsciously let the woman set the tone, the pace, and the structure of the interaction. At first, it feels easy. But over time, it becomes forgettable. Because there's nothing distinct about a man who is always reacting instead of leading. But when you have direction, clear, calm, and intentional, it creates a different kind of presence. You don't wait around for things to happen. You suggest. You decide. You move things forward naturally. Not in a controlling way, but in a grounded, confident way. For example, instead of endless back and forth conversations with no point, you guide the interaction somewhere. You set a plan. You close conversations with intention. You don't linger in uncertainty. And that clarity does something powerful. It removes friction. It creates structure. And it allows her to relax into the interaction instead of overthinking it. But more importantly, it separates you from the majority. Because most men hesitate. They overthink. They wait for the perfect moment. You don't. You move with quiet certainty. And when a woman experiences that, it leaves an impression. Because now, she's not just dealing with someone who talks. She's interacting with someone who knows where he's going. And that energy lingers. Even after you're gone. She starts thinking about how different it felt. How easy it was. How natural it seemed. And that contrast alone keeps you in her mind. But again, this only works if it's real. You can't fake direction in your interactions if your life lacks direction. Because eventually, the inconsistency shows. So this goes beyond just how you communicate. It's about how you live. When you have goals. When you're building something. When your time actually matters. Your actions become more decisive without you forcing it. And that decisiveness is what creates that final layer of attraction. Not noise. Not tricks. But a quiet sense that you're moving forward, with or without her. And that's what makes her think about you. Because now, she feels like she has to catch up to your world, instead of you chasing hers. Now bring all of this together. Because none of these work in isolation. It's not just about being less available, or leaving conversations early, or being a little mysterious. It's the combination. The way your presence feels when all of these elements come together naturally. You're not always there, but when you are, it matters. You don't reveal everything, but what you share has depth. You're not emotionally reactive, but you're not cold either. You can be light, and then grounded, without forcing either. You notice things others don't, but you don't overdo it. And you move with direction instead of hesitation. When all of that aligns, something shifts in how a woman experiences you. You stop feeling like just another option. You become a different kind of presence in her life. One she can't easily categorize. One she can't fully predict. And that's what keeps her thinking about you. Not because you try to control her thoughts. But because her mind naturally returns to what feels different. What feels unresolved. What feels valuable. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. You don't need to chase attention when your presence creates impact. You don't need to force attraction when your behavior naturally builds it. And you don't need tricks when you understand how people actually think and feel. Because at that point, it stops being a game. It becomes who you are. And that's what makes it sustainable. That's what makes it real. And that's what makes it powerful. If you've made it this far, then you already see that this isn't about surface-level tactics. It's about how you carry yourself, how you think, and how you move. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications